Welcome back, everyone. Picking up here after a nice opening victory over Baltimore to start a 4 game series at home. We've won 4 of our last 5. With it being the end of the month, I figured we could check in on just kind of how the overall organization has been doing, not just wins and losses wise, but I think more importantly for where we're at in the rebuild, player development wise. So what we'll do is we'll just go to the roster and then we'll sort by potential. So we'll be able to kind of see all of our higher end guys and see how they're doing. So Cabrera, we're not worried about. He's probably retiring at the end of this year, at least virtually. In reality, that is the plan. And we're not gonna re-sign him anyways, even if he does stick around. Riley Green's off to a pretty good start, almost hitting 300, pair of homers, but he's not much of a power guy anyways. So we've liked what we've seen from him. Down on the farm, Jackson Jobe, who's only 20 and is coming off a couple of injuries. He seems to be off to a pretty good start in AAA. ERA of 3.18, but 34 innings pitched, 35 strikeouts, so K per 9 in the nines. So that's good to see. He certainly could develop into a long-time starter for us. Turnbull's been decent as our ace. Pitched a great game on opening day. And he also had another complete game shutout in there somewhere. I don't remember who it was against. But it seems like in the games where he hasn't pitched really well, he's kind of gotten lit up. So kind of a go-to extremes kind of guy. Torkelson's struggling a bit, only 1 homer, 216, OBP under 300, OPS under 600, so having a tough go of it. Hopefully he'll heat up, but if he doesn't, I mean, he's still young enough and early enough in his tenure here that it's not like we have to give up on him immediately. But particularly with the draft, we can start thinking about keeping an eye on maybe picking up a first baseman if one presents themselves. And I mean, with his positional flexibility, we could go that route anyways, since he can play not only across the diamond but also in the outfield. Reese Olson has also been pitching well in the early going, so that seems to be a theme of our starting pitchers who are younger seem to be pitching pretty well. One player that I do want to call out, Eduardo Rodriguez, is not pitching well. Has an ERA in the 5s. Been striking out a decent amount. Struck out 32 and 30 innings, but not been missing many bats. Whip 1.53. Yee. So the reason why I bring him up is because with his contract being what it is, and this game not having his player option built in, it's not like he is being paid an incredible amount of money, but he might be the next guy that we kind of look to move and see if we can't bring something back for him. I think his trade value in real life is much higher than his trade value in this game, probably, just because in real life he's been one of the Tigers, certainly one of the Tigers' better pitchers and probably one of the better pitchers in the American League when he's been healthy. So we'll have to kind of navigate those waters and see if we can't strike a balance between whatever his real life trade value is and what his trade value is in the game. But I think if he's going to pitch like this, we have enough options that we don't need to have his $15 million salary on the books for the next handful of years. Akil Baddoo's been pretty good, hitting almost 300. And then we actually just moved Jace Young up to AAA. He was starting the year in Single A, and pretty much all of April he spent in Single A. So we'll get him some regular at-bats in AAA. He's already 22, second baseman, third baseman. So if he is able to develop, he could be a nice piece somewhere in the infield. Not a great fielder, not very fast. Only hits lefty, like as a lefty, so we'll see. But if nothing else, I mean, with any of these guys, if we can develop good players that we can then use as trade bait, that works too. They don't have to become regular, everyday major leaguers to be valuable to us. Colt Keith has been struggling in Double-A. Maybe it has something to do with him wearing number 81 as a third baseman, because it's an interesting choice. But hopefully he'll get going. And then Baez is another one that his trade value is definitely not only in the negatives, but among the very worst in the league. And so moving him is not going to be easy, but we'll see if we can't get creative and maybe take back a couple of guys who are maybe on 2-year deals that will at least expire sooner, because as it stands, we're paying Baez 4 years after this year. And stats wise, I mean, 240 average, 310 OBP. OPS isn't terrible, and he at least has been a positive WAR player, which, as we can see, last year he was worth negative 1.2 wins. So he has been better so far this year, but not somebody that we really want to tie our ship to long term, which is exactly what Al Avila did when he signed him. So we'll see if we can't get out from under that contract. But beyond that, I don't think anybody's really stood out. Alex Lang has been absolute nails out of the bullpen. He's been fantastic. And a lot of our guys on the farm have been okay. It's been nice to see Wenceel Perez, in very limited time, play really well, though. In the at-bats that he's gotten in the majors, Zach McKinstry, he's been really good in the also very limited sample size that he has played. So good, in fact, that I've decided for the time being, because I know I traded for Greg Jones when I got Harold Ramirez, and I mentioned, like, all right, well, once we have the waiver situation take care of itself and we kind of clear space, we'll move McKinstry down and pull Jones up. Well, McKinstry's been really good. Jones has struggled mightily in AAA so far, hitting 185. So I think we'll just keep that where it's at. And we'll let McKinstry continue to play in a utility role off the bench, and we'll see if Jones can get hot. But in the meantime, we'll just keep Zach where he's at. The other one I'll mention before we dive back into some action, Harold Ramirez certainly been struggling, although I will say from when we acquired him to where he's at now, he has certainly started to hit a little more. He was in the, I forget, somewhere in the ones when we got him, so only 208. Certainly no all-star campaign being made right now, but as time goes on, hopefully he'll continue to heat up. He has seemingly been on a bit of a hitting streak where it seems like in the games we've simulated and the games we've played, he's gotten a hit in what seems like every game for about a week. So not the end of the world if he doesn't pan out. As I've said before, every trade has some inherent risk, whether it's injury or some kind of performance blowing up in your face. And honestly, if Parker Meadows becomes a 10-time All-Star for Tampa Bay and Harold Ramirez flames out and Greg Jones does nothing, not only would that be par for the course for trades that the Tigers and Rays have engaged in the past, but also I don't think that single trade, if it doesn't work out, is going to be the reason why our rebuild doesn't get off the ground. So I'm happy to have Ramirez. I hope that he heats up and that he maybe does end up slashing something closer to 300 like he's done in the past. But if he doesn't, I think it was a risk worth taking, and I would do it again if I could. So that's where we're at. Standing-wise, we are 2 games back of Cleveland. The Royals have certainly cooled off from their torrid pace to start the season. Mud Hens also over 500. International West is apparently a very competitive division, because being over 500 is still seeing the Mud Hens come in 5th place, but not a bad start to the season for them. And the Seawolves also 1 game over 500. So organizational consistency is absolutely on the menu tonight, as where we sit, every single team is exactly 1 game above 500. So with that, let me check the sponsorships real quick. Still got the same situation there. I don't know if that's going to change. And let's just double check our settings and make sure everything's squared away there. We got the difficulty where we need it to be. We got our sliders where we need them to be. Cool. If we look around the league real quick, kind of like we saw before, no team, at least in the American League, has pulled ahead of the pack or really started to dominate. Tampa was in a good spot there. They were 16-7 and lost 3 in a row. National League, similar situation. Looks like the Dodgers have been heating up, but that only has them at 16-10. Milwaukee holding off a handful of teams in the NL Central in a division that reminds me a lot of the AL Central in terms of the quality of teams, and the Pirates seem to have really hit the skids. And then the Phillies leading the NL East by a game. I feel like there's about 5 or 6 teams that are 16-10 or 16-11, 15-10. So it seems like everybody's still in the race. Even the worst teams aren't that bad. The Mariners are 8-17, but they have the talent where they could go on a run easily. And the Pirates are 7-19, which is certainly not good, but compared to the possible like record-setting futility that the Athletics seem like they might possess, they're on a 5-game winning streak right now. So pretty even keel in terms of the standings. Here, very last thing, let's just take a look at the league leaders real quick. It's still early, so can't read too much into a lot of these numbers, but seeing a lot of predictable faces near the top of the batting average charts and some maybe not so predictable faces like Esteury Ruiz. He actually, with his speed, doesn't have much fielding ability, but with his speed and the fact that he is signed to a absurdly cheap contract, I mean, this should almost be illegal. Like if he was actually making $30,000 playing on a major league roster, that would be really hard to even fathom. But he has gotten off to a torrid start. 370, 4 homers. But like I said, the speed is really appealing to me. 87 speed and 99 steal. So potentially we could put him on a list of just possible trade candidates. Maybe some more surprises in the National League in terms of who we see up here, like Matt McLain. Don't think he was on many big boards for best average through April, but there you have it. Elly De La Cruz seems to be off to a good start to his rookie year. And the Reds seem to have some guys delivering because they got 3 of the top 8 batting average guys, but hasn't translated to a ton of wins for them yet. Former Tiger great CJ Cron played that 2020 COVID season in Detroit, and then he got hurt pretty early on, and that was the end of that. Looks like Ohtani's, yeah, he's replicating his real life performance right now, pitching pretty well. Bucket of strikeouts, 52 in 37 innings, but then he's also hitting 367 with 6 homers. Just absolutely incredible stuff. All right, so with that, let's simulate till our next game. We just played this game, so we're going to sim until Turnbull's next appearance. So we can't keep our momentum going to end the month and end the, well, I guess not end the series. Yeah, we got one more, but as we progress through this series against Baltimore, it looks like we just kind of crapped the bed there. Got shut down pretty comprehensively by John Means, who seems to be having a good start to his year. And then looks like the bullpen really let us down in this one. We were leading in late innings and just could not stop the Oriole machine from chugging along. Yeah, Reese Olson did not have a good start, which we haven't been able to say that too much, but it certainly applied here. And then Jason Shreve continues to get lit up. 10.12 ERA, that's a very crooked number. So, might have to consider a new location for him if that continues. Let's go ahead and do our scouting. Go down here and do it. Let's see what we got. So Antonio Benitez, we've been looking at him in depth. Good speed, not very good fielding, and pretty good contact. Honestly, seems like you could maybe call him like a 4-tool player potentially. But our scouts don't seem to love him quite as much as the rest of the league does. Let's look at these prospects here. Here's Vogel saying, every single time I look at him, I can't help but chuckle. He seems like a true one of a kind. And honestly though, I mean, I'm not super keen to draft a starting pitcher, but it's not like we have our rotation set for the next decade. So if the opportunity arises, I don't want to be dismissive of the potential that bringing in a really good starting pitcher could have for our team, because we just need talent everywhere. So it's hard to really say, oh no, we're all set, we're fine. JT Pritchett is a first baseman. So I mentioned earlier with Torkelson, maybe being inclined to look at other positions first just because we would like for him to be our guy. But honestly, I think I'm going to give this guy a closer look, because if Torkelson does pan out, we can play him elsewhere. And his power seems like it might be real top of the line. He's already older, which actually doesn't dissuade me much, because I like the fact that with him being older, he is maybe more likely to be ready quicker. Because I don't want to be ready to contend in 5 years. I think depending on how this year continues, I think we should hope and aim to be in the mix for the postseason by next season. And so if this guy is ready sooner, then maybe that fits with a timeline of contending in 3 years or so. Let's see, a lot of starting pitchers up here. I'm really not Juan Uribe. I wonder if it's Juan Uribe Jr. I'm really not keen on drafting a reliever. Of course, if one of them is the next Mariano Rivera or something, it'd be hard to say, no, I'm all set. But it's just so much easier to build a good bullpen and find good relievers than it is, I feel like, any other position. And also, you can build a bullpen with some starters too. And you can get really creative with how you use those things. So I'm not as thrilled about the prospect of drafting a reliever just to be a reliever. And I don't think that this game lends itself to a lot of, I'll draft a reliever and then turn him into a starter. So with that in mind, I think I'll probably steer away from those. This player is pretty intriguing, Alexis Zavala. He's really fast, he can really field, and he's got some power. So he is one that I think we might kind of hone in on him. And what we also may do is take a closer look at Pritchett, because I like the idea of Pritchett being a kind of first base cornerstone who can maybe be like a Ryan Howard type and hit 50 homers or something. And Alexis Zavala, he seems like he could maybe be like a Acuna type. And I mean, that's high praise. And of course, whenever prospects are in the early stages of their career, it's very easy to just compare them to every Hall of Famer ever, when the odds of them ever becoming that good are very slim. But the speed potential, the fielding potential, and the power, I mean, even more so than the contact, that is really eye-opening. So let's take a closer look at him. And then let's see over here what we can probably do. I'm not totally sure what the best allotment of my resources is in terms of discovering new prospects versus honing in on one guy versus looking at an area. But maybe what we do... Ooh, this guy's a catcher. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna take this round of scouting this week and just dedicate it to individuals and see where that puts us. So let's do that and dive back into the simulation. We are gonna play this last game against the Mets. It's Turnbull's next start. So let's sim through here. Oh boy. Well, there you have it. So Harold Ramirez tore his rotator cuff. I don't know if he was doing some cleanup work in the late innings, but that's a problem. So he's out for 6 months. He's out for the year. So doesn't look like we'll see much more of the Harold Ramirez experience. That's certainly gonna put a damper on his arbitration and bringing him back in that regard. So looks like he's done. It's tough to see season end so early. It's really, I mean, I guess knock on whatever, but we've been pretty fortunate so far with regard to serious injuries. So that's a bummer, but that's that. We can do that, and I'm gonna go in and here, let's look at the Baltimore result first, and then we'll fix the lineup. Bullpen kind of blew it again, but good comeback at least. Shreve gave up a run again. Tyler Holton got lit up as well, but Joey Wentz did yeoman's work out of the pen. Haas went deep. Looks like Wentzell and McKinstry getting on base multiple times again. Harold did have a pretty good game too before he got hurt. Yeah, it's a bummer. All right, so let's see. We got some moves to make here. Yeah, one other thing I didn't mention. Let me take a look at him here. Tyler Nevin. See where he's at right now. He's cooled off a bit. He was hitting 371 as we approach the end of April. Still hitting 333, so that's been impressive. I mean, he's not really someone we see as a big part of our future, just being 25, see potential, only 71 overall. None of his stats are particularly incredible, but it'll be something to monitor. So what we can do with Ramirez being down is we can probably, let's see how Jones has been doing. Really struggling. Maybe we call up Carpenter. I mean, he played in literally one game, so hard to say, oh, he's hitting 400. Yeah, he's had 5 at-bats. But Jones has been really struggling, so I don't really see a reason to bring him up. I think he would be the kind of go-to option. But maybe we give Carpenter some run. I mean, as it stands now, this is really just looking at a 4th outfielder because Vierling, Green, and Baddoo can all start. I mean, Badoo's almost hitting 300 in the early going, so given that his splits are not bad, right versus left, he's not very, there's no huge difference there. I don't really see a reason to platoon him just because he's a lefty. That doesn't make sense if the stats don't bear it out. So I don't know. Carpenter has been really struggling in AAA, though, even more so than Jones has. I guess I'll call up Jones just for his positional flexibility. So let's do that. he'll be the backup outfielder, and he can also play backup infield along with McKinstry. We do have a crazy amount of versatility though, because Maton can play the outfield, Vierling can play the infield and outfield. Even Torkelson can play the outfield. We do notice Torkelson has lost an overall point as well with his continued struggles. So even Haas can play the outfield. All right, let's fix our lineup here. Baddoo will be our starting left fielder. And we were getting creative with Ramirez playing first against lefties. So let's undo that. We don't have to be that creative. Actually, though, what we can do, we can play... Vierling is a pretty good outfielder. Well, he's not great. Certainly no better than Baddoo. They're both 68. Let's just do that. Let's play Baddoo in right field. Vierling can play first. Why not? And we'll continue to let Torkelson take days off against lefties, at least days off from the field. So that's good. We're going to have to fix AAA too, so let's do that while we're here. Jones was playing outfield. So I don't think any of these guys are B potential, so it doesn't really matter. I guess we'll just go with, let's see. Yeah, we can play Kreidler at short. That's fine. Tyler Nevin should really be playing, although, again, without the designated hitter, I don't know that it matters. But Nevin should definitely be playing every day if he's going to hit 333. So, who can play short? Young can't play short. He can play second. Well, now what the heck. Maybe just leave this as it is. Don't know that it'll matter. And this is a shortstop, so that's fine. Yeah. All right, let's do that. Double A is all good. And let's get back to it. And let's just do this. It's a bummer. Banez got hurt, but only be out for a couple of days. 2 hits from Torkelson, good to see. But Eduardo got shelled again. And we may have to look to trade him sooner rather than later. He's off to a nightmarish start. And good comeback in this one. I'm sure Frank the Tank did not handle it well. 3 more hits from Torkelson, including a homer. Vierling was 3 for 3. Good stuff. We'll take it. All right, let's see if we can't win a series here against the Mets. Haas is pretty tired, so maybe what we do, I'd like to keep his bat in the lineup. So maybe what we do is we just let him take the day off from catching. Rogers will come in there. Looks like we got Jones playing second. We are facing a righty. I guess I'll give Jones a try. It's tough to take Perez out of the lineup when he's been hitting so well, but we'll give him a go. All right, let's roll with it. Looks like the top of the Mets lineup is not just scorching, but mostly hitting over 300. I think Nimmo was 279, and everyone else was comfortably in the 300s. Looks like a beautiful afternoon at Comerica Park. Not seeing long sleeves from the first couple players we've seen either, so maybe the game allowed the temperature to creep into the 60s or so. Okay, yeah, Pham was the one not hitting over 300, not Nimmo. In any event, we get any ground out. the lineup kind of falls off a cliff after the 5-hole. But a lot of talent there, especially in the back end. I mean, Lindor, for one of the best shortstops over the past 10 years. Brett Beatty's a very highly touted guy. Eduardo Escobar's had a lot of success in his career. Good location by Turnbull there. Let's see if we can get a 1-2-3 top of the first. Nope. All right. Want to be careful against Alonso.
Runner.
Okay. Stole second without a throw. I did hit the button, but it was way too late, and it wouldn't have made a difference anyways.
2-2.
Got him. Good sinker. All right, let's go hit. Senga not had the greatest start to 2023. And yeah, there we go, 65 degrees. This will probably be one of the very first nice days of the year in Michigan, so people would be out and about, tank tops, shorts. As soon as it gets even above 50, I think, for the first time in a year, everyone dresses like it's 4th of July. Little bloop here. Not going to fall. Veerling put pretty good contact on the pitch he saw as well, but nothing to show for it. Got a couple fastballs down the middle.
1-2 to count.
See if Baez can make his former team pay.
2-2.
Well, really, it's been the Tigers who have been paying both literally and figuratively. Yeah, good pitch there. Goes right on the black. All right, Francisco Alvarez up next. Looks like he's having a great start to his rookie season.
2-1.
Yeah, 5th in the NL in WAR. Could be one of the best catchers in the league for a long time. All right, 3-2 count to Beatty here. Always tricky starting to count with 3 balls, because you don't have any sort of waste pitch, but we're able to get him to fly out on a sinker there. Really cool seeing the bird shadows. Don't think I've noticed that before, but it's awesome attention to detail.
Ball outside.
All right, Vogelbach hitting 164. That was a fastball right down the middle, so that's not going to cut it. All right, Torque.
That's the ball. 2-1.
He is up to, yeah, 229. So, I mean, that's almost 20, maybe 30 points higher than he started the month. Which, I mean, part and parcel to being early in the season, but he's clearly been swinging the bat well. First few games in May. I was way behind on that fastball.
Ball.
Maytom's been alright. Almost 250. Getting him and Veerling back for Gregory Soto was pretty good haul, all things considered. He's got me way out in front of the off speed. Forkball is his version of a changeup. Doesn't look like he has a changeup otherwise. Man. Gonna have to sit back on that and then just try and react to the fastball. .102 off the bat for Lindor. I'm curious what his speed steal situation is. Not bad, so wouldn't be shocked to see him go. Big out there, especially with the top of the order coming up. Right, there he goes. And he's in there. I mean, it was a great jump. He did not take a lead off beyond the normal one, so beyond just pitching out because we had a hunch, I don't think there was a ton we could have did. Another fastball down the middle, swing and miss. Not sure how long that trend will last, but we'll take it. And another strikeout. Better location on that fastball, but Turnbull is through 3. This might be one of, if not my first at bat with Baddoo this season, just because I feel like a lot of the games we faced starters who were lefties, and obviously I don't always play the first 3 innings anyways. Forkball still got me all sorts of messed up. Jake Rogers hitting .316 in the early going. That's cool. Good to see. Now there's a faction of the Tigers fanhood who sees Rogers as catcher of the future. Certainly would be nice if that came to fruition, but don't know if he has the, I don't know, talent repertoire to make that a reality, or at least a productive reality. Oof, nasty slurve. I mean, that's pretty much a perfect location. Alright, Greg Jones' first game in the majors this year. There we go, base hit, I'll take it. And with his ability on the base pass, I'm definitely going to try to steal. It would be a waste not to. 1-1 count, so they might pitch out. But I don't care, I'm going.
Runner, runner, runner!
That's just terrible. I don't think I should have meant it literally when I said I'm going, but apparently I did. Alright, let's see how this game progresses. Looks like the Mets got a couple hits, but Turnbull got out of trouble in the 4th. Still scoreless, top 7. No longer scoreless, top 8. We answer with a run and lose 2-1. Turnbull did finish the game out. So he's looking like, I don't know, Jack Morris in '84 or something. He's already thrown 3 complete games. I think 2, but still. Greg Jones had 2 hits, so that's cool. Maytime went deep, and otherwise we had a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, tough way to lose a series. Really good outing by Turnbull. Looks like we head to St. Louis next. So we'll sim those. And then we'll have some scouting to do. That's fine. Cool. Won the first 2 games in St. Louis. Pretty commandingly, too. Very solid outing for Olsen. And same for Skubal, just missed a complete game shutout. Greg Jones gets called up and apparently is unstoppable. Hitting .500 through, what, 2-3 games? Wencio Perez, though, continues to rake, hitting .369. So good stuff all around. Nice to see people stepping up in the absence of Andy Ibanez, and looks like we have taken over sole possession of second place in our really pathetic division. The Royals, who were 7-0 or 8-0, are now 15-19. So I don't even know if falling off a cliff can adequately describe what they have done. White Sox seem to be on the path to underachieve again. Twins just face planting. And Cleveland actually seems pretty good. So let's look at scouting. Let's see what happened here. Okay, JT Pritchett seems like he might be really good. And I like seeing that he's viewed league-wide as third, because that means he might be there for us. So I think I'm gonna, I mean, we still got almost half of our scouting time left. And so if I'm able to kind of hone in on maybe 2 guys to use for our first couple picks, then I'm happy spending another week or 2 just on individual players. I think we look at all these guys again. I mean, Zavala doesn't seem maybe quite as high-end Acuna, Griffey Jr.-ish. After we scouted him, still really impressive potential. I mean, could be a lockdown outfielder who steals 50 bases a year and has some power. That's not something you see very often. And he's a switch hitter, which is really cool. But Pritchett, I mean, he might be a serious bat in the middle of the lineup. And Nick Wildman, too. I mean, we were just talking about Jake Rogers as the potential catcher of the future. I'm not sure that I am buying a lot of that stock. And this guy could be like an Adley Rutschman type. Switch hitter, can field, good contact. He's from Wisconsin too, which has recently become a lot more relevant in my life. So yeah, let's just keep this rolling, and then we can reassess next week and maybe start to branch back out to more generalized plans. Let's do that. And so it looks like we're going to play the last game against Cleveland. So let's simulate these couple. Haas is out for a few days. It's a bummer. And let's... Oh, man, that stinks. Veerling broke his arm, so he's out 2 to 3 months. He's been a good leadoff hitter for us. Actually been hitting for some power, too. So, more opportunities for young guys, bench guys, etc. That's a bummer, though. All right, yeah, so let's just take a look at what happened here. This game seems like a pretty straightforward loss. Rodriguez pitched better, but that does not mean he pitched well. His ERA is still in the 6s, almost basically 7. 2 more hits for Greg Jones. Ibanez came back with a thud, and he's really kind of fallen off quickly. I mean, he's already hitting 284, which is not bad, but is not what he was. 4 homers, but Lorenzen, he is a mess as well. And this was Turnbull, so yeah, not bad, not terrible, just kind of meh. Nick Maton is on a tear, hitting 314. But all right, Veerling's out, so let's look at our lineup again, and we're gonna call somebody up again. So let's see. Veerling was our first baseman too against lefties, which is fine. We can move Turnbull there, or Torkelson. Not gonna move Turnbull there, not yet. How's Carpenter doing in AAA? Pretty bad, all things considered. How's Nevin doing? Yeah, maybe we just maybe we give him a chance. I mean, he's certainly versatile. Why not? Cabrera's a mess. I mean, he just needs to not really play, quite frankly. It's sad to say, but it's true. Yeah. Let's give Nevin some run. All right, so I'm gonna move Tyler Nevin up. We'll go with that. Let me just real quick look at the pitching situation. Foley's been pretty good in limited work. Cisneros is fine. Holton, only 3 innings, but not great. Shreve, I guess, been better as of late. But yeah, the bullpen's a mess, which is fine. I mean, until we have any aspirations of competing for a playoff spot, there's really not much use in having a really good bullpen. And it looks like the guys on the farm are pitching pretty well, with some exceptions. Ty Madden's been kind of rough. But, alright. Just wanted to check that out. So, Nevin is going to be here in the majors, and who do we start? McKinstry's been great. Jones has been great. Wenceel Perez has been great. I guess we go Jones. I'm not going to start Nevin. At least not right away. I suppose he could start against lefties, though, because numbers, stats-wise, are pretty good. McKinstry or Jones? Whatever. I don't know that it matters all that much. But let's just go with that. Cabrera needs to not play. He should not be playing at all. Let's see. I think we can get Wenceel in. Yeah, I think that's all good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And maybe we play him at third. I can't play third. Let's roll with it. This shouldn't matter. And maybe I will do this. I'm not going to hit Nevin leadoff. That is for sure. McKinstry playing against lefties. Nah, I don't think that's the best idea. I think we should play Wenceel, and then let's get creative with how we do this. So Maton can play the outfield. So let's do that. Play Ibanez at third, Wenceel at second. That's fine. Hit him lead off. All good with me. And that's fine. We can play Nevin there. Yeah, let's do that. And then in AAA, let's see, I guess he's a better option, but I don't know that it matters that much. Play Kreidler and play, that's fine. Okay, it should be all good. Yeah, let's roll with it. I don't absolutely love it, but such is life. All right. Let's play the Guardians here. See if we can't win what would be a big series to win. I'm not going to play in the rain. I don't really understand why that is offered as an option, because teams don't really play in the rain hardly ever. So let's do this, and then we can... Maton's been on fire, but he's playing well. Green's been actually kind of struggling, so maybe we actually give him a break. I mean, with all this talent in our lineup, let's do that. Let's give him a break, and let's DH Maton, because he's playing well, but he's tired. Baddoo is also tired, but he can get a break sometime soon. Let's move Maton up to second just because he's been hitting so well. 315. Yeah, let's roll with it. McKinstry can play third. That's his primary. Let's do it. Cleveland, kind of like the Mets, where lineup seems very top heavy, although they did have somebody in the 9-hole hitting 3-something. All right, 3-2 count for Greg Jones leading off here. Would love a leadoff walk. I was so keen on the possibility of it that I took a pitch you shouldn't take on 3-2. Perfect slider, right in the black. See, Tristan McKenzie only got 3 pitches, no changeup or sinker or forkball, etc. Fastball is about 95-ish. And once again, I'm screwing up. I'm not supposed to be playing this first half inning, so I'll skip my first half of the 4th.
That pitch is in. Ball 4.
All right, Torque's going to get a good pitch to hit here. I still have yet to hit a user home run with the Tigers. So maybe this is the play right here. Baez will be in motion. 3-2, 2 outs.
Ball 4.
And another walk. So we're getting McKenzie's pitch count up, if nothing else. Opportunity here for McKinstry to drive in a run. Man. I think my timing was good on that too. Just missed it. Alright, so let's sim ahead. Very quickly this game is getting out of hand. So I'll sim my top half of the 4th, and then now I'll pitch. So maybe we'll see after the game what happened in the bottom of the 1st. Looks like Olson's been pretty much okay since then. But that was very much not okay.
He's out.
The center field, number 13, Gabriel Arias.
Somewhat anecdotal and confirmation biasy note, but even among the pretty good pitchers that we have, it seems like against any kind of like real team, they struggle mightily. I know Turnbull's been just lit up. Like last game he got lit up by Cleveland, and there was another start, maybe it was against Baltimore, where he just got shelled. So I guess that's not really surprising. That fits with a lot of narratives that one could script about a team like where our roster's at, where it's like, you know, hey, we're doing all right, we're about 500, but really probably a huge paper tiger. Like anytime we play a good team, we fold like an accordion. So we'll see if we can mount a bit of a rally here. We did get a run last inning. McKenzie's still in the game. His pitch count has totally settled in. I mean, he had, I think, 25 or so pitches in the 1st. And then in the next 3 innings, he had like 30, I guess.
Ball 2.
Oh, man, I thought I held up, but I was mistaken. Good contact from Maton there. Looks like we're going to benefit from some shoddy fielding. scored a base hit. I do not agree, but I will not complain either. Just low with the fastball. Didn't exactly blow it by me at 91, but strikeout is a strikeout.
We got a full count.
3-2 pitch here would very much like to avoid walking the leadoff man with Jose Ramirez on deck. And we don't walk him, but we do give up a single. So, how's that for keeping the leadoff man on? Brennan doesn't seem like he has great speed, but the computer is not afraid to run, even with guys who maybe are not the biggest burners in the world.
Full count. 3-2.
Good fastball there, got him to chase. I'm going to try the splitter. Tough play for Jones, not going to make it. See if we can hustle the ball back in, stop him from scoring. They're going for it. I think he's going to be in there, yeah. Get Bell to ground out, but he does move the runner up. And let that go foul. I didn't check. Well, let's play in. I mean, it's probably irrelevant at this point, but might as well try. Good strikeout there. Needed that. Got a chance to get out of it with limited damage here.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice. Good stuff by Olsen there. And I suppose let's get the pen going, although maybe Olsen can give us another inning too. Torkelson will have another walk. He's been on base every time. Looks like 2 walks and a hit. Actually, I'm guessing his hit might have been a homer. McKinstry smokes one right into a double play. Not much we can do about that. Like I've said before too, I mean, I don't know how this game evaluates the random number generator essentially. You know, you hit a ball hard, you swing with correct timing. How do they decide if you miss, if you hit a homer, if you dribble one, pop one up? But when you don't have a very talented roster, that's a beautiful 12-6 curveball. When you don't have a very talented roster, it's kind of hard to expect for balls to be finding gaps, just because it's not normally what happens in real life either. All right, I am going to call this one. So let's bring in Shreve, and let's just sim this one out. Let's bring in Cisnero. All right, this one has gotten out of hand, so there you have it. We lose the game and the series. And let's see. Torkelson did not homer. McKinstry doubled him in, looks like. But pretty disastrous. So with that, thank you for joining us as always. We'll see you again soon. Take care.